Welcome to Popternative, where we dive into topical discussions from the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. Here is your host, Peter Remoliotis, aka PD Beats.
PD Beats here from Popternative, speaking to Allan Hawco about Quicksand, which is going to be streaming July 14th on Shudder and AMC+. Welcome back to the show, man. It's good to see you again.
It's great to be here. Welcome to my backyard in St. John's, Newfoundland.
Oh,
and
awesome.
my dogs are just standing by. They're very confused. They don't know why I'm not petting them and feeding them.
Absolutely. No, we got the whole gang. It's awesome. I really love this film. I was telling you before we started. I mean, I'm a big horror movie fan. One of the things I really liked about this movie is, people see the trailer, read about it. I don't want to go into it too much because of spoilers, but the tension before you get into the quicksand between the two of you is pretty amazing and incredible. And I'm wondering, what was that like, kind of reading that in the script, right? Because there's like two types of tension. There's like the relationship tension, and then the actual, oh, we're stuck, we have to survive tension. So what was that like? Because that was what I loved about it, to be honest with you.
Well, that's great, because that was what we were. That's what Andreas, the director, that was the focus, is to not make this a cliche. Even though the title sounds like the biggest of cliches. So, and the script was written in a way that it was a drama, not an action. It's really just about people, right? Yeah. So the tension you're talking about is just built on backstory that we all know, or we've all experienced this stuff, where you're going through a relationship and it's not working and you want it to work and you don't know why it's not working, and they have two kids and the life, and she's given up her life and he's doing whatever he's doing, and we don't know. The audience never finds out. And Carolina and I never discussed it. We didn't plan it. We just met 2 days before we started shooting in Colombia. She flew in from LA the day before or something. Yep. So our work that we did in terms of building that drama and building that tension was totally independent, and never discussed. But both of us clearly did the job and then showed up and just sat in it. And like a live, you can't play that. You can't play tension, or you can't play. I don't know what that's for the audience to judge in terms of what I come off like. But sitting with her, we're not playing angry or sad or any of that. We're just kind of living in what the story of these two people are, and where they've found themselves, and what's going to come, who knows? And then some stuff really happens.
Stuff happens. I was about to say, we're talking about the dramatic component, but let's be honest. The horror movie fans are going to eat this up. It's got all the good stuff for a horror movie.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
It's got the thrill and what I was calling it, like a terror horror. I don't know if that's the genre. It was like a thing. I was just trying to explain it to people at the time because it sounds so silly when you cut. I'm like, no, it's a play filled with terror about your worst fears and your worst. Can you imagine going through a divorce like that and getting stuck for 2 days?
Yeah. But even how you get there, again, I'm a big fan. I don't know if you're a big believer of this, because we obviously, we're both creators, but, we like watching things. I love going in fresh. I don't know about you. Do you like...
Love it.
Yeah.
No, I don't read anything. Yeah, I don't like to read anything.
So, but even, the lead-ups to how you get there. There's, I was exhausted watching this movie.
That's good, I guess. That's good.
It's good. That's the point. No. You're exhausted. You're into it. And you're basically the audience is in a roller coaster with all the loop-de-loops and the tosses and turns, all that good stuff, except you can't get off it. That's how that's what it feels like with watching this movie. And I loved every second of it, to be honest with you.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. And that's it's weirdly like a play where you can't go into that situation as an actor, I don't think, and have prepared what you're going to play, how you're going to act.
Yeah, 100%.
What the end of each of these scenes is going to look like,
Yeah. Now I do have to say, Allan, because I'm a huge horror movie fan, and it's one of those things where the wheel has not been reinvented. The horror movies have been around for a long time. However, there was this boom or surge, I'd like to call it, where 5-10 years ago, they really became popular. There really became an appetite for this content, and then all these amazing, incredible filmmakers from the from the landscape were making like psychological thrillers, doing things we've never seen in horror before. So that being said, just a general question: what's it like working on Quicksand, knowing that there is such an appetite for the kind of horror movie content these days? Like, I'm just curious about that from an acting storyteller perspective.
I think it's a lame answer, but like I go into every job, whether it's this or something, super already established mainstream or brand new, whatever. And I don't go there because you cannot predict you can think someone's going to love something and no one responds, and you can be unsure and no one responds, or you can get lucky and people respond. So the only thing I wanted to accomplish was to be able to as the challenge, why I wanted to do it was the people involved were I'd known and worked with some of them before in Colombia when I did Jack Ryan, and I made we developed a great relationship together. And then the challenge as an actor to be able to be alive and fresh in that material, that is a real challenge. Like, you're in a mud pit for 9-10 days and you are just two of you working away, and I didn't know this person, and how's that going to work? And I was really interested. I didn't care really who liked it or who watched it. And that, when I talk to like younger actors, I'm like, you can't go into something thinking, okay, this is going to be my big break. Like, you got to lose that temptation and just be like, I don't care. This is not for them. I hope they enjoy it, but I have to approach it that this is for me.
Absolutely. No, that's a great answer. That's not a lame answer at all. It's funny because when we did I don't know if you remember, you do a lot of interviews. When we did the interview for Moonshine, I set myself up for failure because I asked you the worst question. I said, why do you think people like the workplace comedies? And you were like, because people have to go to work. And I was like, frig. Like, I just set myself up for that one.
That's right. It was me and Jen and you, right?
Yeah.
No, but it's true. But that's true. People wanna see.
Yeah.
That's what's cool about this story.
Yeah.
Is you're dealing with two people who are going through a very human experience that we've all touched or been around, right? Mm-hmm. And it's like, it's not so overwhelming that you can't tolerate it, and also like it shifts, like you said, so quickly. Mm-hmm. And it becomes this whole other thing that you weren't expecting. I mean, you are when you look at the title or if you go into it. But if you are going into it kind of like, what is this all about? Mm-hmm. You don't know what our relationship is going to be, and you don't know what the dynamic is, and you don't know if you're rooting for them yet. You don't know anything, but you have experienced it as a human being, and I think that's what draws. That's one of the things that can draw an audience.
Well, I feel like your character in Quicksand, like, to be completely honest with you, there's tension. The relationship's not there at all. It's not going well at all. But like, I don't know. Like, there's not one time I'm watching this movie where I'm like, your character's a bad dude or a bad guy. Like, I didn't get that at all. You know what I mean? And I'm wondering, how was he presented to you in the scripts? Like what? Were you able to read him a little bit? Like, I didn't feel like he was this like bad dude. Obviously, this relationship didn't work out. You know what I mean? And like, he's trying to make the best out of it. But like, because I feel like sometimes the way it's seen, it's like there's this tension, and someone has to be like the antagonist. You know what I mean? But like, I just like, you know what I mean by that a little bit?
Oh, 100%. Like. And I think that's a choice sometimes, or director's choice. Andreas, our director, didn't want to approach it that way. I don't think it's worth. I can't approach it that way because it's like you are judging. You can't judge your character before you. You can't judge a character when you're playing them. You need to live in their squeaky bits, their ugly bits, and you need to live in. Because that's the way we are. None of us are squeaky clean. We've all got shit all over us. And it's like how we handle that. And that's what distinguishes us from others. So how does Josh handle this? What is Josh's thing? What's the human version that I can identify with, that I can live, and it lives in my skin? That's my goal. You know what I mean? Like, as opposed to looking at it from a lens where, oh, he's a dick. If you start from that, I learned that like first year in my career where we were doing some play, I don't know. And there was a whole debate about what an asshole this one character was. Mm-hmm. and he was like cornered, and it's like, how's he supposed to play any authenticity or truth in it if you're all telling him what he is? Like, I cannot stand that. So for me, the audience never knows who is what or what happened. Like, and Carolina and I never talked about it. So It's like, we didn't. Yeah, like, just let you figure it out.
I will say, because I'm a creative as well too, and I've produced and I've written some shorts actually in post production for one right now, and it's interesting because you sometimes do have these pre-notions of like, this character is not a good person, or like this character, you do it. Sometimes you kind of like fall in that trap. I find when you're writing, like you do. I feel like I want to sometimes let the writing like tell whether this character is a certain person or not, rather than be like, I'm writing this person as the jerk. You know what I mean?
But even if they're in the writing process, even if we know they're a bad dude, or a bad person, however you want to put it, whatever the character is, it's like, why?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So why are they doing bad things? No one is any one thing. So what happened?
Yeah.
What happened so I'm working on a feature right now that I'm prepping for.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what's the backstory that makes this person tick? I don't need to ask anyone any of these questions. I mean, they might want to tell me, and that's always helpful or not helpful.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, why are they behaving in the way they're behaving? That's interesting.
Yeah.
What is it that's spawning that action? And what is the thing that they're holding that they need? And, you can write in the script, this is not a great person.
Yeah.
And I mean, that gives an actor so much, because the actor's like, well, I'm not going to play, I'm not a great person. How do you even play that?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
all
you can play is like, what am I going through? What am I feeling? And what is the reason why I want this thing? And, what fuel that, you just build out all that in there, and then you just have to interact with the other actor and try to live it in your skin. That's kind of how
you're giving like a master class here. This is awesome.
Oh, geez. Yeah, I don't mean to be.
No, it's amazing.
But it's like directly related to that question.
Very quickly before we wrap up as well, I did want to ask, I mean, there is a bigger question here, but it has to do with Republic of Dole, because, I have to tell you, like, I love the show growing up. That was like my parents' favorite show. Like, every time a new episode would come out, it would be like an event. Like, when a new episode will come out, and these week-to-week kind of releases that they're kind of going back to right now in this binge culture. What did you think about that, kind of seeing that come back a little bit? Because when an episode of Republic of Dole came out, then you have to wait another week, but there were like the dinner table conversations. It was like an event kind of waiting for a new episode to come out. Like, what do you think about that?
That was the coolest thing, and thanks for saying that. Like,
appreciate it. Yeah.
In this town, you get that sort of feedback from people that they were anticipating, and here's the deal. As a creator, you get, you build a lot of things, you're in a lot of things, and you don't get to create a lot of things. And some of those things people are identified with, some of them, they never find out about it. And sometimes people never know about the thing you made. But when you make something that hits and becomes some kind of phenomenon for some people, like, you're just grateful. And I mean that. You're just like, geez, this worked. Like, you can only have good ideas and work and try and execute them. There's no formula, right? If there was.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Everyone would be doing it.
Allan, honestly, it was an honor and privilege to speak with you. Thank you so much for coming back on the show, dude. I really appreciate it. And I can't wait for people to see Quicksand July 14th on Shudder and on AMC+. Thank you so much for your time, man.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube. Be sure to like Popternative on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.